Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 31st, Halloween night, and tonight's movie is Haunt. From the beginning, I had been intending to save this one for last because it takes place on Halloween, so it fit. And by the way, there are not nearly as many horror movies that take place on Halloween than you'd expect. I mean, there's Halloween, Trick or Treat, and that's all I was able to come up with off the top of my head. Haunt is about a walk-in haunted house attraction, and a group of people who go through it. I assume it's a group of young adults, the main characters, and it starts out seeming completely normal and not even that scary. I mean, there are skeletons that pop out, spooky decorations, but from what I can tell, as it continues, it gets scarier and scarier, and eventually it gets to the point where they start to suspect they're in actual danger. And then they know for sure. If you think about it, these kind of attractions make doing something illegal a lot easier to cover up than they would be otherwise. One of the scenes in the trailer looks like a girl is getting murdered and she's pleading for the people watching to help her. But now I'm wondering if the real twist of this movie is that this all is just a very, very elaborate fake, and like the last survivor comes out of the place all bloody and they see everybody else totally fine. Or like one of the patrons stabs one of the actors in self-defense thinking that their life was on the line, but they really weren't and they just killed somebody. This could go any number of ways. I'm gonna go give it a watch. You know, funny thing, I just realized this today. So far, every single one of the last movies of the 4 horror nights I've done has gotten a 7 out of 10. Well, that tradition breaks now. This one is getting a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great. I wasn't expecting that much from this, but something happened. This was one of those movies that started out like meh to okay and progressively kept getting better until it was done. I've said in past videos about slashers that, in my opinion, the most important part of the slasher movie is the chase, and that's pretty much the entire second 2/3 of this movie. The main characters are a group of college students, 2 guys, 4 girls. They don't seem to be particularly close together, like as friends. Some of the girls are, but it just seems like a normal group of people. Main character is a girl named Harper, and I liked her a lot. This movie has one of those hero's journey character arcs, and she's the center of it. There's also her love interest, Nathan, her roommate, Bailey. I liked Bailey a lot. She was funny. One of Nathan's friends named Evan. He's kind of annoying, and these 2 other girls who die early, so it doesn't really matter. I do question their intelligence because at the beginning of the movie, they are like the people behind this haunted house are sending out flyers, and that's what makes them want to look for a haunted house. And they're just driving around and they find one. And the reason why it's called Haunt, I believe, is because there's like a road sign that's lights up and it's supposed to say haunted house, but Ed House is like faded. And when they get to this unbelievably sketchy place in the middle of nowhere, they are asked to sign release forms and also give them their phone and keys and put them in a lockbox. Mind you, this is for a haunted house attraction they know nothing about. The people behind this haunted house, they all wear masks, and there are 7 masks in total. A clown, a witch, a ghost, a zombie, a demon, a skeleton, and a vampire. All the masks are creepy in different ways. This is one of those movies where multiple times you think that a scare is about to pop up, and then it doesn't. And that's a good strategy because every jump scare releases some or all of the tension. So if it keeps faking out, the tension just keeps going up. Like, for instance, there was a scene where Harper was in this room that had 4 doors and a bucket hanging from a rope. And there was a sign that said, "Reach into the bucket." And when she reaches in, I was expecting something to like grab her in the bucket. It didn't. She pulled out a flashlight and then all the lights went out. And she kept looking around with the flashlight and she went back to the door that she came in and held it on there. And I was thinking something was going to pop in through that door and nothing did. And then a door to her side like slowly opens up and she slowly turns to look at it. And I was expecting something to pop out of that door and it didn't. The characters and in turn the audience just kept getting strung along. And that just keeps strengthening the impact of when the scare actually happens. This isn't the most original concept in the world, but the name of the game with Haunt is execution. This is a plain and simple slasher movie that is executed very well, and if you like slashers, I would give it a watch. Alright, that's the end of the spoiler section. If you're leaving now, happy Halloween, be safe out there. Now I want to talk about some spoilers. I'd say for the last about 40% of the movie, the only characters left are Harper and Nathan. Harper is going through the haunted house, like step by step, room by room, and Nathan was sent outside the house, still in the building, but sort of like in the backstage area. And both of them, at this point, they know that they're fighting for their lives and they just need to get out of there. Harper also talks about she lived in a home with a father that was abusive to her mother, and she was really scared of going back home, and she said that she had a recurring dream of it. And she talked about how she was hiding under the bed as she heard her dad hit her mom. And in one of the last rooms of the place is set up like a bedroom. And one of the clues, it's almost like it's an escape room, basically. It tells her to go under the bed. And she gets a key that also looks like a knife. And she hears Devil Mask, who is following her pretty much the entire second half of the movie, walk in. And it keeps flashing back to it. It's still under the bed, but the lighting changed. It's the memory of her under the bed as a kid. But this time she's able to face her fear, come out, and she stabs Devil Mask in the eye. By the way, I don't know if I was expecting any masks to come off, but a few of them do take off their masks, and I hope that these are like prosthetics, because if they're not, these are some insane like body modifications. There's like bumps in the faces, there's like spikes coming out, there's huge tattoos that take up the entire face. Anyway, normally you only get one survivor in slasher movies, but in this one you get two. Harper and Nathan are both able to make it out. Not unscathed, both of them have a lot of injuries, but they're alive. But the movie does not end there. I told you about the release forms that they had to sign at the beginning, and that also includes their addresses. Out of all the people in that house, the Clown Mask is the only one that made it out of it alive. And the last scene is him going to Harper's childhood home to kill her. But she prepared for that. She put super glue on the floor in front of the front door, which is something that he did in the house. She plays Pop Goes the Weasel on like a little speaker, and Pop Goes the Weasel was something from the house. And she is waiting for him with a shotgun, and the last part of the movie is her firing. I think this movie is aware of what expectations the viewer has going in, and it has fun playing with those expectations and going against them. It's not completely spectacular. I'd say it's the lowest 9 out of all the 9s I've given out this month, but it's still really well executed. And with that, that concludes Horror Nights 2021. I'm definitely going to take a break, at least for a little while. I will not be seeing you tomorrow, but I will be seeing you again eventually. Thank you. Have a fun, safe Halloween.